So today I want to talk about anxiety, worries, thoughts that go round and round and round in your head, chaotic thinking, all of those types of things, those kind of habits that we bring to our riding as well as everyday life. So that constant, almost chronic, familiar hum of worry that seems to appear, even when things are going well. It may be that you're having a good stretch with your horse, there's a good stretch of time with your horse. And in that mindset, you start to say to yourself, but what if it doesn't last? What if something happens? What if I push too much physically, mentally, emotionally, and something breaks down? And you might say to yourself, I just worry too much. And if I don't worry, I worry that I've got nothing to worry about. Or you might say, well, I'm just that kind of person. That's my personality. But what if your mind, and more importantly, your nervous system, has simply learned worry? There's a very famous therapist that we briefly mention in NLP. Her name is Virginia Satir. And she said, our minds don't prioritize survival. So you may have already heard, that the very primitive part of our mind cares very much about survival and will do anything to help us survive. And she said, our minds don't prioritize survival. They prioritize familiarity. So that familiarity then, whether that familiarity is feeling great, feeling safe, feeling sound, feeling peaceful and calm, that's your familiarity. But what if your familiarity is the worry, the stress, the anxiety? Then that's your familiarity. So that's what your mind is seeking, because the familiarity feels safe. It's kind of like the better the devil you know. But because your mind doesn't prefer calm, it prefers familiar, then you may have spent months or years where worry was a common feature. It could be at school, it could be at work, it could be to do with riding, it could be outside of riding. But that familiarity has built a really strong connection between those worries equaling safety. And it becomes a kind of rule in our brains. In NLP, we call it a complex equivalence. Worry equals safety. But actually, logically, it doesn't, does it? Of course. But that logic doesn't matter. And we'll start to unwrap why that illogical belief is really irrelevant. So when things start to go well for you, your unconscious mind may not recognize calm as a familiar feeling, so it doesn't recognize the safety in the calm. So unconsciously, so outside of your awareness, it may start to send little signals, may highlight events, highlight things that are going on around you, highlight movements, something to do with your horse that brings the familiar back. It brings the worry back. So, for instance, that's when the what ifs sneak in. Even if, as I say, riding or life or both are going really well. Because it's unfamiliar to your mind, it feels the need to feed you some what ifs. So your mind is trying to protect you. It's trying to find that familiar again. So when let's imagine you have a few unpredictable rides, maybe your horse spooked, or something happened, last year, last season. So even now when your horse is calm, your nervous system remembers those nervous tensions. So it stays alert, scanning for danger. And you might find that your body tenses in various places for different people, particularly your jaw, your shoulders, maybe your hands. Your breathing becomes shallower. You may even forget to breathe. Your focus narrows. Your vision actually narrows. And your horse, beautifully tuned into your state, picks up on that and feels those minute changes in your seat, in your breath, and starts to feel uncertain too. And before you know it, the very thing that you were worrying about begins to unfold. It's not that you did anything wrong, because it was very automatic. It was because your nervous system was trying to keep you safe. So if you've lived in that kind of state for a while, calm feels strange. I had a lovely client this week. We've done a series of sessions, and this was the final kind of catch up and wrap up session. And she said to me, I booked this session a couple of weeks ago, she said, and I was actually feeling absolutely fine. But she said, I thought I wouldn't feel fine. She said, I felt really strange after the first couple of sessions because I'd lost my anxiety. And she said, I felt, like I had to search for it, or that something wasn't as it usually is, not in a bad way, but just this kind of experience of the world in a completely different way. So when we had this final session, she came on and she said, I haven't got any anxiety. I can't get in touch with it. It feels so distant. It feels like if I imagine it, I'm imagining watching somebody else. I'm completely disassociated from it. But she had that session, and we ended up just having a lovely, lovely chat, and me going through a list of things that she had told me about previously and saying, are you still feeling like this? Are you still feeling? And she was saying, no. But she kept saying, but there was a time very shortly after our sessions that I thought I might feel like that. So it's not logical, but it is neurological. And it's almost like your nervous system is saying, yes, anxiety, worry, I know how to deal with it. This is us, this is what we do. And that equals safety. So instead of letting yourself go and feel the peace and embrace the calm, your mind starts searching for something to fix or to analyze or to fear. And if you say to yourself, stop worrying, it can work on some level, but it needs work and it needs lots of repetition. It's the nervous system patterning that keeps kind of going back to that default, and we need to change the default. So how can we start to shift this? So we need to show that being calm equals safe. So let's try this really short exercise. And if you're driving or you're doing something that needs your concentration and focus, then you can pause right now, or you can listen and maybe not do the exercise, but do be wary. So for the rest of us that can just take a minute or two, I want you to take a slow, deep breath in through your nose and exhale through your mouth. And do it once again. Inhale and exhale through your mouth. One last time. Inhale and exhale through your mouth. Good. Now soften your shoulders. Allow your shoulders to just drop. Allow your jaw to drop and soften. And just feel your thighs, your hips also start to loosen and sink. I want you to notice one small thing in your body that feels really comfortable right now. It may be the warmth of your hands. Maybe just that your eyes are able to just slowly blink. Maybe that your breathing is slow and regular, or the way your feet feel against the ground. Just pick that one small thing and let that feeling of comfortable expand slightly. And then imagine sending it through your body like a wave of calm. Enjoy your breathing. Slow, regular, deep. And say to yourself out loud or in your head, it's safe for me to feel calm. And breathe it in. And again, it's safe for me to feel calm. One more time. It's safe for me to feel calm. And as we're doing this, if your mind jumps in with a random negative thought, that's okay. Just notice it's a thought. It's part of an electrical circuit. That's all. Gently return to your breath, because you're showing your nervous system that calm is no threat. You don't have to be on alert to be safe. You can be calm and safe. Now, imagine bringing this calm into the saddle with you. Imagine that you're mounted and you may be in halt or walk. You may be doing whatever activity you enjoy most on your horse. And breathe. And as you exhale next time, say in your mind or say out loud, I'm safe. And my horse is safe. And again, I'm safe. I'm calm. My horse is safe. My horse is calm. And again, I'm safe. I'm calm. My horse is safe. My horse is calm. And again, I'm safe. I'm calm. My horse is safe and calm. You might want to just repeat that. So just continue to talk. What you're doing here is regulating your nervous system. You're teaching your nervous system a new set of signals that calm, slowness equal safety. And when you regulate your own nervous system, we know that your horse often mirrors it back to you. And so you can stay in this beautiful calm equals safe kind of thinking for a few moments, and you can come out of it if you wish. I want you to just consider when you notice yourself worrying again, whether it's about something that's real, like an upcoming competition, or you're doing something new, whatever it might be, just pause and ask, is the worry keeping me safe, or is it just familiar? And that one question can interrupt the automatic pattern. You don't need to fight with the worry. You just need to show your nervous system something new. Calm equals safety. And you might even say that to yourself in those moments. Start with your breath and then the words calm equals safety. And as much as you can, make slow movements. And when your body learns this and your mind is on board, then the need to repetitively manifest worry and anxiety begins to fade away. So, in summary then, you're not addicted to the worry. Your nervous system has just been trained to believe that worry equals safety. And that's something that you can absolutely retrain. Start small with those deep breaths, a few words of calm equals safety, or I am calm, which means I am safe. And bit by bit, you will teach your body and your mind that you can be relaxed and yet still be very alert, calm and capable, grounded and able to perform. And that's where your confidence will grow from. If this resonated with you, I'd love to hear about it. You can share your thoughts or experiences on Instagram. You can leave me a little review on your podcast platform. It just helps this little podcast reach even more riders who might need to hear this today. And of course, you can always share this with someone that you think it might help. If you need more, don't forget that I also coach and train in mindset modalities, so you can always contact me to find out more. Take care, and I'll see you again very soon.